first question that came in. I've been told that networking events, Chamber of Commerce meetings, and LinkedIn outreach are the keys to building a great referral network. I've been trying these for months with minimal results, and frankly, I hate it. What's the real way to building a massive referral network?
I would say always we take a step back and go, well, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to achieve? And that's what we see and what people typically do is they do what they're taught to do, like cold call and work on lists and all this kind of stuff, and or go door to door. I'm knocking at that kind of thing, the old typical fashion way that they still teach today. And when that doesn't work out, almost always people will go to you'll hear it. We brought on 14,000 salespeople, and we've probably heard this 14,000 times, nearly 14,000 times, where they go, oh, you know what? And when we told them not to go cold calling in the first place, but then you go, oh, you know what I'm going to do is there's a really good business network meeting, or I'm going to join the Chamber of Commerce, and having done those things, you realize it doesn't really work. Because if we step back and go, look, okay, this is the Freedom Challenge. So the challenge is doing this for freedom. And so we go, okay, who do you know that does that in any capacity that's free? So if you're chasing that, it's not gonna work. Because what happens is let's say you go to because Chamber of Commerce, all it's sort of what's the objective? You get in the Chamber of Commerce list. And I mean, we've been members of the Chamber of Commerce. It has netted us zero. You invest a lot of time. It's more of a social network, and there's other business people, and you get together and you do things, and maybe you trade business back and forth. Like, oh, it's a chamber member, so I'm going to give them my business. But there's, how many people are in your chamber? So that's about as big as your network is going to be. And typically people don't go beyond that. Maybe you get a couple referrals, but it's really limited. Business networking groups are the same thing. They're a similar thing. They're obviously different, but typically people go there and they trade leads. They go, oh man, here's a guy that I sold a phone system to. Want to give him a call for credit card processing, and and the guy maybe doesn't need card processing. He hasn't asked for card processing. So now I call him and go, hey, you know what? The guy you bought your phone system, recommended I give you a call. Is that how warm is that? It's not cold. It's sort of it's not a cold call kind of, because somebody suggested that you go see this guy. This guy doesn't need you. Didn't ask the phone system guy, hey, who do you know that does this? So that's what a business networking group is. You might get a couple accounts out of your business networking group. We have plenty of people, salespeople who have joined business networking groups and have gotten some business out of it. But have they gotten free from it? Absolutely not. So those are but a lot of people, you'll find they'll level off at Chamber of Commerce and business networking groups because it's easier than cold calling. And so maybe you get the same results, but it's not a way to get free. So so I wouldn't do either one of those. I wouldn't do either one of those. I would go to my warm market first and ask people in my warm market also, who else do you know that might be somebody that could use what I do, or give me a listen, is how I say it. And so I would start there, and I wouldn't do business networking groups, and I would not do Chamber of Commerce, because it doesn't take me where I want to go. It's somewhere other than cold calling, and that's why people go there. But if I want to be free, what I'll do is I'll start with my warm market, not because I'm going to get a ton of business out of that. Maybe I'll get some one account out of it, but I get people in my process, and when I pair it with something, when I go out there and I just don't uh, sell to the end user, when I add some sort of, like, we have the give back program. So merchants can use us, and part of the fee that they pay go to a nonprofit of their choice. And so now we start building this network on, yeah, what it is we do, if you need that, but also you may already do that and you may choose to go with us because of this other reason. So we can start expanding. And we also go to uh, our world changed dramatically like dramatically, and I'll go back and show you how or what changed. But when we switched from going to people who use what we sell to people who can recommend people who use what we sell, so going to places that also have the same customer or client or member that we're looking for, where we're not competing with what they do. Like we'd go to a bank, they have merchants that use merchant services, and sometimes the bank can't help them, or the merchant might need something that the bank can't provide, and they don't want to potentially lose that, so they go, hey, why don't you call John and Chuck, and they'll help you out. And those people call us. So we started going just to those. We started just finding recommenders, whether they're people uh, or businesses. Because let's say that we sign up a merchant and they want to give to Rotary, and then so I go, hey, who else do you know that would like Rotary to benefit just like you did today? And they might say, well, everybody in my Rotary club. You go, well, how many is that? 43. And go, okay, well, there's my next 43 calls. Calling, going, hey, you know what? We're helping to raise money for Rotary. Here's how we're doing it. So now I'm not calling those people. So we go to refers, and what happens is if you go to enough referrers, they have enough connections that need you, and so your phone rings, and then when somebody calls in, they go, hey, I heard that you do this. Yeah, I do now. And it's so easy of a phone call. So that's the kind of referrer network that we go after. And how you gauge how big your network needs to be is how many phone calls do you get? Do you get enough business coming in that gets you all the business that you need? I found that I needed about 40 to 45 inbound calls every month to get about 21 accounts, and that's how much I could handle. I could handle 21 accounts, and the cool thing about that too is I could be anywhere in the world. My phone rings, and I can take it, and I can do that from wherever I want if they're inbound calls. So I don't have to go anywhere. I can do everything over the phone. So again, that's the freedom angle. The challenge is to build it for freedom. So I want inbound calls, people wanting what I have, and so when you talk about going to Chamber of Commerce, would that do that? Probably not. Would a business networking group do that? Probably not. But this way absolutely does. And what changed too is that 21 accounts. Nobody in the world that I have ever heard of prior to that has ever done that. That doesn't exist. The typical way that people go about doing this, whether it's Chamber of Commerce, business networking, whatever that standard stuff is eight. They get eight if they're really doing it well, and then they've got to be pounding around, going to meetings, doing all this stuff. And but if you go, all right, how do I do this for freedom? And I go, okay, well, freedom means this to me. Then I want inbound calls, and I want as many as I can handle, which was about 21. And so I did 21 every month for years, and and life changed. You go from living in one zip code to the next. You go from driving a minivan to a Mercedes. It's life changes. So you step back and you look at what it is you want to do, because everybody will tell you, oh, you know what? If when you get your teeth kicked in, when business is kicking the when business is kicking the shit out of you, switch. Don't do that anymore. Go to Chamber of Commerce. Go to business networking meetings. Okay, well, just understand it's not going to get you free. It might get you a couple of contacts. Maybe you can start planting some seeds from there for your network. But there's a really cool supercharged way to do this, and it's connecting with referrers is what we found. So find referrers, that can refer the same, that already do business with the clients you have, and then come up with some other reason other than, hey, what, credit card processing or whatever it is you sell. Hey, we've got this thing, some reason, some other psychology, and then you make as many connections as you need to have all the business that you need coming in. Those are the three things. Do you want to you have any story to add to that, Chuck?
I guess I have a gentleman that I work with. He's one of our sales partners, and he focuses on a particular industry type that has to do, with our nonprofits, and he works with a lot of humane societies. Well, if you stick to
Yeah.
If you stick to localized areas, that's as far as your sales circle goes. This guy writes business all over the country. I mean, he's getting, by instead of going to a BNI meeting or going to a Chamber of Commerce meeting or whatever, he finds his targets, which are typically like vet clinics or humane societies, and he works them. And all he does is work on them. He has a list of all the ones in the country. So his sales footprint is, let's say, 1,000 times bigger than just going to one meeting in your local town. Because you're going to get, and he did this. He got a couple referrals. Yeah, that was great, but it's not enough, at least in what we do and what most people do. You can't live off 2 or 3 accounts. You need to have a portfolio of business. I'd rather have, and what this gentleman did is now he's got 1,000 people out there bird dogging for him, if you will, right? They're looking for deals. They're looking for deals for him instead of the 9 people that belong to his BNI meeting or the 20 people that belong to his Chamber of Commerce meeting. So even if your objective is not to set it up to be free, which is crazy, but people do, purely the ROI of your time doesn't make sense to do it the old-fashioned way and go to these BNI groups. There's not a big enough return from what we've ever seen.
Yeah, there's not. I think you made a really good point where how big is that network at your BNI group? How big is that network at Chamber of Commerce versus when you start building your own network? You're joining that network. Let's build our own, and then we can control. We have control.
Right.
We own the game. Now we own the game, and so now the game. It's like, well, all right, how much do you want to win from this game?
Well, and if you get one referral out of every 10 people, and I'm just arbitrarily pulling this number out, and you're in a group of 30, you're going to get 3 referrals. If you're in a group of 1,000, you're going to get 100 referrals. So it's different. It's bigger. It's better, and you control it. You can,
you can build it. You can assemble it
build it,
yourself.
right.